little rundown of how this goes down, what it looks like, just so you know what to expect. And then we can get ourselves moving so I can get you guys hopefully wrapped up around 1, possibly a few minutes after that, if that's okay. Does anyone have a hard stop at 1 o'clock? I always ask, just to make sure.
No, I'm good with whenever.
Okay, great. So I'll aim to wrap up around like 1:05, and then we can sign off after that. But so usually the way this works is I start with a little bit of a meditation, we'll call it, and I use it in air quotes because I know the word meditation can be particularly intimidating to many people, because people think that the goal of meditation is to just like shut everything off, which is in my world near to impossible. And I've been practicing this for a really, really long time. And that's not to be discouraging, but really it is to like humanize the idea that like meditation doesn't have to, in our world where we live in and we are like pulled in so many different directions, especially now, it seems, it is not really, it's very hard, a hard place to access where we clear our mind, right? But what I hope to give you guys is even just like a moment of a pause. So a pause meaning like finding a little bit of stillness, finding a little bit more awareness of our breath, which is honestly the most important thing that we do in a yoga practice. We often are associating yoga with a lot of physical movement and poses and flexibility and all of those things. And while those things are amazing, you can build strength, you can build flexibility, and all of these things that can be this awesome physical benefit from yoga, that's not always my number one focus. So I would rather give you movement that makes you feel good rather than discouraged. So if at any point you feel like you want to do things a little bit more challenging in your own space, on your own mat, I totally welcome that. Just be mindful, of course. And I also am, if I'm, ramping things up, I like to build. So we don't come right out of the gate, like go, go, go. We'll move and ease into movement. And you can feel free to like soften it, ease, hold back a little bit. If that's what your body is really craving today. So it all just really depends. We are different every single day, and some days we have more energy and we're ready to go. Some days we don't even realize it, but we've been going, and what we actually might need is a little bit of slowing down. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I see you guys like nodding your heads. Yeah, I know. Yes. And it's funny. We've been trained, like we've been like inundated with this idea that in order to get out of our heads, we have to move and move and move even more. And we run and we run and we run. And sometimes what can happen in our body when we slow down is like a phenomena. Like if we give ourselves permission to just breathe, to sit, to be still, it might feel uncomfortable for a moment or two, but our nervous system will actually respond in a way that could be quite favorable. If even just for a moment, a little bit longer than that, maybe it exists and carries on into the rest of your day, into your weekend, whatever it is. So that is my goal. That's a lot of words, but really just the idea is to give you guys a moment of pause. And hopefully that moment leads to other moments outside of just our time together. So do any of you have any questions before we get started? No? Okay, great. So I'm just going to move into my yoga space, which is really my living room in the time of COVID. I feel like this nice wall makes it look very official when I start, but yeah. So you might even see my cat or my dog make an appearance. They're lovely and they love it.
More the merrier.
Yes. And they happen to like just really love to come around when yoga is happening, of course. So you might just see either one of them. So I see that you have a mat. Jess, I know you have a mat. Shannon, do you have a yoga mat? I'm just asking, not because it's a requirement, but just the way I phrase things.
Yeah, I do.
Throughout class. Okay, great. So yeah, you'll just hear me say like the front of the mat, back of the mat. You can always see me, hopefully, and hear me to follow along. Now, if you have something that you'd like to use to sit up on top of, just to elevate your hips a little bit as we find a seat at the beginning, awesome. I have a yoga block. Awesome, Dean. I see you have one too. That's great. If you do not have a pillow or a block, that's totally okay too. We make do. But the reason why I just offer that up is so you can find a little more comfort and a little bit more length in your spine. It really helps. So go ahead and just take a seat, whatever feels comfortable for you. And maybe you like rock side to side a little bit, and you land in a place that feels a little bit comfortable, because sometimes finding a seat can feel a little bit strange, especially in the middle of our day. I'm going to pin my video so it's nice and big and you guys can see me hopefully a little bit better. Great. And then just take a moment to create a little bit of tension, ironically. You're going to almost do the opposite of what we're aiming to do, but just squeeze your shoulders up towards your ears as you inhale. And then as you exhale, just start to bring your shoulders back and then allow them to fall away from your ears. So just slow, subtle movements. We'll start there. Take a deep breath in again, shrug your shoulders up towards your ears. And then a breath out to draw them back and down. And then just allow your eyes to close. Notice if you're clenching your jaw, if you have tension there, just take a breath in. And a breath out to let it soften. Notice if you're pressing your tongue on the roof of your mouth, allow it to soften. And maybe you just start to notice just the sounds that exist around you. We spend so much of our day being pulled in the direction of sound, whether it's people around us, the notification of an email or a text. Just take this moment to, rather than need to react to the sounds that you hear, see if you can just give yourself permission to just observe them, just notice them. And so you just start to create this safe space wherever you are, where you can just be as you are. Not needing to fix or fight or even change anything. And if that concept seems nearly impossible, that's okay. Just start with your breath. So just observe your next inhale as you draw it in through your nose. Allow it to fill up your lungs. Your chest expands as a result. And then trace your entire exhale as your lungs start to empty slowly and the breath just pours out of you. Take about 2 more like that, noticing the breath drawing in and pouring out. And as you are aware of that ebb and that flow, maybe for the first time all day, just start to notice how your body and your mind both respond to that intentional breathing. So you might even right here start to breathe in to feel your body start to lengthen. Maybe your spine grows a little bit taller, longer as you sit up. And then as you exhale, think about just creating a little bit more ease in your body. Maybe in your fingers, your toes, features of your face. Take 2 more rounds of breath like that, breathing in to expand or lengthen. Breathing out to find ease. A full breath in. And a breath out to land again just as you are. And on your next inhale, you'll start to again sit up a little bit taller. We add in just a little more movement as you exhale. Just drop your chin towards the center of your chest. And start to roll your right ear just over towards your right shoulder, but keeping the shoulder heavy. Maybe the ear drops a little heavier. And then roll your chin back to the center of your chest. And bring your left ear over towards your left shoulder. Finding that length in the side of the neck. And then you'll drop your chin back towards the center of your chest. Start to just lift it up towards the sky here, maybe to open through the front of the throat. And then you'll come back to center. And then just bring your hands together if you'd like to, right in front of your chest here. And just start to notice as you press your palms together, can you find a balance between your right and your left? Just noticing that physical balance. And then maybe you start to right here, think of what I'd call an intention for your practice, like your reason for logging on, showing up, taking this time for yourself. So maybe you think of just like one word, something you'd like to bring in a little bit more of through our time together, through your time with yourself. So that word might be ease, breath, patience, courage, whatever it is. And just keep that word in your mind and take a big breath in. And you might even open up your mouth and just let out a sigh. Maybe it's an audible sigh. Ha. Take one more like that, big breath in, like you're drawing in a little bit more of that intention. And you open up your mouth, find more ease as you empty. And as you start to blink your eyes open, I want you to just take in a little bit more light, but try not to let your mind be distracted by what you see. So you can keep your awareness on your own mat and just meet me in tabletop pose. So just removing any pillow or block that you had, you can place it off to the side. And then in tabletop pose, you'll just drop your hands on the ground right underneath your shoulders and spread your fingers really wide apart. And for this first one, I want you to press the tops of your feet down with your knees right underneath your hips. And then if you want, you can soften through the elbows, but take your next breath in to just lift your chest. Maybe start to lift your chin and your tailbone will rise for cow. And then use your slow exhale to find the opposite. I want you to round your back up towards the sky, drop your chin to your chest, and round into cat pose. And take one more round like that. Take a full breath in to lift the heart, finding cow. Move really slow if you can. And then your entire exhale to round into cat pose. And just start to tuck your toes under onto your mat. You're going to press back through your heels and just send your feet towards your heels to deepen that stretch. If that feels okay in the ankles, I like to rock side to side here. And start to walk your hands back towards your knees just enough so you can press into your hands. And we want you to lift your feet up and you'll just land in a forward fold towards the back of your mat. You can heel toe your feet a little wider, but I'd like you to bend your knees a lot. So think belly resting almost in between your thighs. And then you can grab opposite forearms and maybe just sway side to side. So as you bend your knees, your low back is even more lengthened without that strain in the hamstrings or lessening the strain. And then release your arms down. You can heel toe your feet just a little closer underneath your hips, and then it's your halfway lift here. So think hands to your shins and your heart goes forward. And use your exhale here to fold right back down. Think belly towards your thighs. Take one more like that. Halfway lift again. Big breath in to lengthen. And use your exhale to fold and bow the chest. You can drop the head. Now it's halfway lift again. Reach your heart forward as you inhale. Bring your hands to your hips. And then just start to stand all the way up, nice and easy. As you press down through the feet, sweep the arms out and up. You'll rise, bring the hands together overhead. And then just start to bring your hands down towards your heart center, just like you did in a seat. Find the balance between right and left. You'll hear me say that a few times throughout class. Just really notice it. Take a full breath in. Feel your chest expand towards your thumbs. And then a breath out. You can even open the mouth again, maybe sigh it out. And then you reach the hands back up. Take a full inhale. Take your exhale to bend through the knees and hinge at the hips, forward fold. And your halfway lift again reaches your heart forward. And then you walk the hands to the top of your mat, finding downward facing dog, your first one. And so in down dog, oftentimes we think about how straight our legs can be and how our heels need to find the ground. And we need to rethink the shape completely. So start to lift up to your toes for a moment. And then bend your knees a little more. Now press into your hands and see if you can lift your feet a little higher, keeping your knees bent. This can be your down dog. So it doesn't have to be that perfect upside down V. I want you to make it work for you so then you can find more strength and more length in the spine, especially the low back. Take a full breath in, a big breath out. And you'll start to rise up to your toes as you inhale. Drop your knees back down, finding tabletop pose. Right into cow as you lift the heart. Take a big inhale. And then exhale to round. Press the ground away. Drop your chin towards your chest. And then come back into tabletop pose. Send your right leg behind you, hip height. And then start to bend your knee 90 degrees. Just little slow circles here. I want you to press your heel up a little higher. And then drop your right knee down next to the left. Send your right knee out to the right. And then you'll kick that right foot up and back. You can do that one more time. Draw the knee down. Send it out to the right. Kick it up and back. Now send that right leg long behind you again. Kick it back. Tuck the right toes under. And spin your right heel down, reach the right arm high. Modified side plank here, so your left knee stays down. And you reach your right hand forward. So feel the whole right side of your body get a little bit longer as you inhale. Now use your exhale to slowly come all the way up. Your arms come out like a T. I want you to drop your right hand down and reach your left hand up. Now you get to lengthen the left side, should feel good. And then you'll slowly take your hands to the top of your mat. Lift your right leg back up, hip height. And then drop your right knee down next to the left. And then taking the other side, your left leg kicks back. Bend the knee 90 degrees. You'll press the heel up. As you exhale, bring your left knee down towards the right. Send that knee out to the left. And then kick it up and back. That's your circle. Take one more on your own, nice and slow. Draw it down, out, and around. And then you'll kick the left leg behind you. Start to tuck the toes under. Spin the heel down as you reach your left hand up. And then reach your left hand forward. You get all that space in between the ribs. And then you get to rise up. Keep that left leg long. Drop your left hand down. Reach your right hand up. And then you'll slowly bring your hands back to the front of your mat. Pick the left leg up behind you. Drop the left knee next to the right. One more round of cat-cow here. You'll lift through the heart. Take a breath in. And then as you exhale, press down and round your upper back into cat. Now come back to neutral. I want you to keep your knees where they are, toes pointing back. Send your hips back towards your heels. And then start to drag your fingertips towards your feet. So you can press down through your fingertips. They just graze the ground. And then I want you to lift your chest up. So broaden through the collarbones and even lift your chin, if that feels good. And then you'll slowly come forward, bring the weight onto your knees as you lift up, lift your feet, lift the hands. Now, as you exhale, keep that long line. I want you to just tip it back and reach your hands forward. A little bit more strength. Do two more like that. Inhale, rise up, reach up. And then exhale, tip the structure back. Really use your breath. Last one, inhale, rise. And exhale, you tip back. And then you'll reach the hands up. Take one big breath in. Just start to bring your hands to your hips and step your right foot forward. Nice and easy. You're going to keep that left knee down. Sweep the arms high as you inhale. Right hand to your left wrist and lean over to the right. So you get more of a stretch in the left side. And then you'll reach your hands up. Start to bring your hands down inside your right foot, just for a moment. I want you to tuck your back toes and lift your knee off the ground. Now you're going to spin your left heel down, but this time you come up to warrior two. So your right knee is stacked over your ankle. The arms are long like a T. Now, like you did in that variation on your knee. Your left hand goes down and reach your right hand up. Find the length through the right side. And start to bring your right forearm to your right thigh and reach your left arm alongside your ear. Stay for one more breath in. And then back to warrior two. You come back up. Now this time you straighten your right leg. Start to reach your hands up and pick your right toes up. Let them parallel the left. So you're facing the long edge of your mat. Take your inhale to stand up even taller. Use your exhale to fold forward. And right away you can soften the knees as you reach your chest forward. Think a halfway lift. And then maybe you bend the knees a little more to fold forward. And drop the head. And here, just for a moment, maybe shake out your head. Yes and no. Let gravity do a little bit of work. And then find your halfway lift again. Think chest parallel to the ground. See your right foot. I want you to frame it with your hands and come into a lunge. Your back knee will stay lifted. Take a breath in just to look forward. Now use your exhale to step your left foot up to meet your right at the top of your mat. Halfway lift right here, hands to your shins. And then use the exhale to fold and bend the knees, drop the head. Stand all the way up just like you did before. You'll rise. And then right away, bend your knees, sit back into chair pose. Take a breath in to lift through the chest. And then a little bit of flow here. Work with your breath. You're going to tip the heart forward, sweep the arms back like wings. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, rise back up. And exhale, tip the heart forward, sweep the arms back. Last one, stay with it, breathe in. And exhale, sweep it back. Stand all the way up, you'll rise. And bring your hands to your heart center, just like you did before. Find that balance between right and left. Maybe you start to even notice your heart beating a little bit faster. Take a full breath in to expand. Feel your body respond to a long exhale. And start to send the weight into your right foot. You're going to slowly pick that left knee up, just about hip height. Maybe you roll out the left ankle. You wiggle the toes. You might even start to press your left heel forward for an added challenge. Maybe reach the hands up. Just take one more breath in. And then you'll swing that left leg behind you. Nice and slow, the ball of your left foot will land, coming into a high lunge. So that back heel is lifted. Start to maybe even soften the left knee. And then a little more flow right here. We use our breath again to find a little more strength. Take a breath in, reach up higher. Now as you exhale, bend the knees and bend the elbows wide like goalposts. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, lift back up. And exhale to bend. Last one, breathe in. Keep pressing your right big toe down even as you lower. Rising back up, take a huge inhale, maybe even look up. And your hands come down to your mat. Step back to downward facing dog. Don't forget about softening the knees here to bring in more strength. Take a full breath in. Maybe open up the mouth. And start to rise up to your toes as you inhale. You get to drop back down to that tabletop pose. Lifting the heart, finding that cow pose. Exhaling, press the ground away and round into cat. And then you'll come back to neutral. Like you did before, sit back on your heels. Fingertips graze the ground and come towards your feet behind you, and then you lift the chest. Maybe you start to notice you're creating a little bit more space. Maybe you start to lift the seats. Not a requirement, just an option. And then you'll sit back down on your heels, rise up onto your knees, take an inhale, lift up. And then exhale, lean back, reach the hands forward. 2 more like that, lift up. Last one, breathe in. And exhale, you tip back, reach the hands up. Bring your hands to your hips and step your left foot forward. So we have all of that on the other side. No big deal. Reach your hands up. And then just as you exhale, start to bring left hand to your right wrist. Lean over to the left. Finding that stretch in the side, front of the right hip. And then you'll reach back up. Bring your hands inside the left foot. Tuck the back toes and lift the knee off the ground. You'll spin that right heel down. Rise up, warrior 2. Once you're there, reverse your warrior. Your left hand will rise. Start to bring your left hand to your left thigh or your left forearm to your left thigh. Reach your right arm over your ear. Stay here. 1 more breath in. Back to warrior 2. You get to straighten your left leg. Reach the arms up, parallel the feet. So you're widening your stance. Take your arms down along your sides here. This time, interlace the fingers, maybe straighten the arms as you lift to the chest. And then you fold forward. I encourage you to soften the knees as you let your head drop. Shake it out, yes and no. Now, if that bind behind you is not working for you, causing you more tension, release the hands. You just have 1 more round of breath right here. And find your halfway lifting, chest parallel to the ground. See your left foot, frame it at the top of your mat with the hands looking forward as you inhale. Step the right foot up to meet the left. It's forward fold to the top of your mat. Halfway lift, big breath in. And exhale, fold right back down, empty. Stand all the way up, rise for your inhale. Hands to your heart center as you pause. That balance between right and left. Notice it, full breath in. Maybe open your mouth, sigh it out. Sit back into chair pose and sweep the arms high. So we have that flow again. You're gonna lift the heart, take a breath in. Hips forward, sweep the arms back, maybe even lift the heels and play with balance. 2 more, inhale, rise back up to chair. And exhale, tip it forward, sweep the arms back. Last one, breathe in, breathe it out. Stand all the way up, reach the hands high. And then start to just bring them back to your heart center. Shift the weight into the left foot. Start to pick your right knee up. Our last balancing pose. So not too much today. Just rolling the right ankle, wiggling the toe. Maybe sending that foot forward and then reaching the hands up. It's a little bit more work in that right hip. Take 1 more breath in. And then you get to swing it back, finding a high lunge. Now you get to stretch all of that out as you reach your hands high. I encourage you to soften that back knee. The right knee will soften. 1 last flow here. You get that breath in to reach up higher. Now bend the knees, bend the elbows, just hover. 1 more, inhale, lift up. And exhale, you hover. Last one, breathe in. Breathe it out. You'll reach up as you inhale. Slowly reach the hands forward, let them find the ground. Stepping back to downward facing dog. Softening the knees, take a breath in. Big breath out. Rising up to your toes, drop your knees to the ground. tabletop pose. Lifting the heart, finding cow. Exhaling to round for cat. Take your knees a little wider and your big toes together. Send your feet back. And then your chest goes forward. Your forehead can even find your mat. Child's pose. Nothing too crazy, too complicated, just finding a little bit of ease. Notice where your mind wants to go, what's pulling it away from that place on your mat where you can just be, just as you are. See if you can come back to it as you breathe in. And find that long breath out. And you'll just slowly come forward. Enough to just find a seat and swing your legs around in front of you. Start to just give them a little bit of a shake. You might even take your hands and give them a little bit of a self-massage here, finding your calves, your shins, your quads, maybe your hamstrings. And then taking the soles of your feet together and your knees come wide. Start to take your heels a little bit further away from you than you normally would. As you sit up nice and tall, bring your hands to your shins. Feel the crown of your head lift a little bit higher. And then maybe start to take your hands to the soles of your feet and just like take this moment to give yourself just a little bit of a massage here. So dragging the thumbs on the arches of the feet. Taking this moment of pause to give yourself just a little bit more love, attention. Take a breath in to sit up taller. Stay with that or fold forward. Maybe you continue that attention to your feet. And then you'll slowly, whenever you're ready, there's of course no rush, you'll rise up. And take your legs out in front of you just for a moment. And then you'll bend your knees to plant your feet and then just wrap your shins, or wrap your forearms rather, around your knees, your shins. And then you'll lift your chest a little higher than that. Take a big inhale. A long exhale. And then you'll keep your feet firmly planted as you reach your hands forward. Just make sure you have enough space behind you on your mat as you just slowly start to find one vertebra at a time on your mat. Take your legs long in front of you. Take your arms overhead and just find a long body stretch here. Point your toes forward. You'll reach your hands a little further away from that. Take one more big inhale. Big exhale. And then just start to take your arms down along your sides. I want your palms to face the ground and you'll bend your knees, plant your feet. One bridge pose here. You're going to press down through your feet and then see if you can slowly start to lift your pelvis up off the ground. Your hips rise. And it's not about how high they go, but how supported can you feel in the feet, in the legs. The back of the head stays heavy. Face is soft. Take one more inhale. And then use a slow exhale to reconnect your spine onto the ground. And then heel toe your feet just a little bit wider than your hips and just knock your knees together. Bring one hand to your belly. And either the other hand on top of that or to your heart. Close your eyes. Connect with your breath, just like you did at the beginning of class. So maybe you slowly draw in for the count of 3, 2, 1. And then just as slow, you empty for 3, 2, 1. 2 more rounds like that on your own, just starting to get familiar what it feels like to slow things down after movement. Notice how your body responds. And you can, of course, stay with that awareness of your breath, the drawing in and out. Or if you'd like, you can just for a moment hug your knees towards your chest, squeeze them in, and maybe a little rock side to side. One more inhale right here to squeeze everything in. And then use your exhale to take your legs back long to the ground and your arms down along your sides. Your palms will flip up. And you'll just close your eyes here. So the most important pose that we take is actually this, Shavasana. So see if you can just take one big breath in right here, reconnecting with that intention that you may have set, that word. You might even open up your mouth, let out that audible sigh to find more ease in the toes. Relaxation in the legs. Release in the hips. Softening in the belly. Ease in the chest and the shoulders. Heaviness in the arms and the hands. And even the back of the head. With your eyes closed, can you soften the features of your face? And can you land in stillness? Returning to that place of just observation. If even just for a few breaths, lean into that. Nothing to fix. Nothing to change. And nowhere to be but right here. Allow your next incoming breath to just be a little bit bigger. Allow it to fill you up and feel your chest rise. And let your exhale provide you more release, more ease. And send just a little bit more energy and movement to your fingers, and to your toes. Might even rock your head so slowly side to side. And start by if you can. You'll just drop your knees to one side, roll onto your side. And you'll keep your eyes heavy, but press yourself up to a seat. And just where you began, maybe you start to bring your hands to your knees as you sit up nice and tall. And just take a moment to observe what has shifted, what has changed from when you first found a seat at the beginning of class. And bring your hands together again in front of your heart. And just take a moment to honor yourself for creating the time, the space in your day, to create space in your physical body, space in your breath, to create space in your mind, even in between your thoughts. And know you can have the choice, or you do have the choice, to fill that space back up with whatever it is that you need a little bit more of. So maybe it's that word that you chose. Bring your thumb tips right to the center of your forehead. And just a reminder here to be kind to yourself, so then you can share that kindness in your own way with others. Thank you so much for joining me today. Together we say namaste. Thank you, ladies, for joining me today. Really was so nice to meet you, Dina, and so nice to meet you, Shannon.